Have you ever really thought about those people who just don't use social media? I don't mean for a weekend detox, I mean they're just off it for good. Today, we're going to get into the psychology of why someone might just opt out of a world that nearly 5 billion of us are plugged into.
Okay, so picture this. You're watching a perfect sunset. And what happens? Everyone, and I mean everyone, pulls out their phone. They're filming, they're posting, they're proving they were there. But then you see them, one person, just watching, just taking it all in. Who is that person? And what do they know that maybe we don't?
Because what we're learning is that this choice, it isn't about hating technology or being some kind of hermit. Oh no. In a world this plugged in, choosing to be offline is a deliberate, conscious, and a pretty radical act. It's a huge statement about what you really value. To really get this, we first have to understand what social media is actually doing to our brains. And it all starts with this one super powerful little chemical. Now, what's wild here is how on purpose this all is. These platforms, they were built by people who get behavioral psychology. They were literally engineered to give us these little hits of dopamine using something called a variable reward schedule. It's the exact same principle that makes slot machines so insanely addictive. They're designed from the ground up to hook you. So here's the crucial thing to understand. People who don't use social media, they're not immune to dopamine. Of course not. They're just getting it from different places. Their reward system isn't constantly looking for that outside hit, the likes, the comments. It's activated by internal satisfaction. The experience, the moment itself, is the reward. They validate their own lives. And you know what? That changes the entire game. But that dopamine hit, that's only half the story. There's a much, much darker side to all this that we don't like to talk about, the constant subconscious game of comparison. And this, right here, just nails it. It's a game you can't win. Every single time you scroll, your brain is quietly measuring your messy, real, complicated life against someone else's highlight reel. It is a perfect recipe for feeling like you're not enough. And look, this isn't just a feeling. The science is crystal clear. A major study out of the University of Pennsylvania found a direct link. See here? Heavy social media use was tied to the highest levels of depression and loneliness. Now, even just limiting your use helped a lot. But the people who were completely off it, they had the lowest levels consistently. All that scrolling also messes with our ability to just focus. It trains our brains to want something new every few seconds, which puts us in this state of continuous partial attention. You're never really all there. Brain scans even show that heavy users have less activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that handles focus and decision-making. You're just never fully present. But okay, let's be real for a second. Is every single person who avoids social media doing it from a place of strength? Or are some of them just hiding, afraid of being judged? Because one of those is empowerment. The other is just fear dressed up as a principle. And that's a really important distinction to make. All right, so we've talked about mental health, but there are also some really concrete rewards for logging off. And the first one, maybe the most shocking one, is the staggering amount of time you reclaim. It starts small. The average person spends 2.5 hours a day scrolling through other people's lives. And you might think, okay, 2.5 hours, what's the big deal? Well, just you wait. Let's scale that up. Because 2.5 hours a day balloons into more than 900 hours every single year. Just pause and think about that. What could you do with an extra 900 hours? But it's this last number where the real gut punches. And that's 38. 38 full 24-hour days of your life every single year. Gone. People who quit social media aren't just dodging the comparison trap. They are literally getting over a month of their lives back every single year to actually live. And what are they doing with those 38 days? Well, they're investing in things that actually matter. They're building deeper, real-life relationships because their social energy isn't spread thin across 1,000 followers. They're creating stuff, they're thinking their own thoughts, and they're building stronger, clearer memories because they're actually experiencing moments, not just trying to document them. Because that's what people who opt out have figured out. Every post, it can feel like a little audition for approval. Every story is a calculated move in this invisible status game. It's not real connection. It's a performance. It's theater. So this all brings us to the final and most important idea. It's about your own personal choice. It's about realizing that your attention is the most valuable currency you have. We're all held captive by this idea of FOMO, the fear of missing out. But people who've quit, they've realized something pretty profound. Most of what you're so scared of missing, it's just digital noise. The truly important stuff, the real connections, the big life events, trust me, that stuff will find its way to you. And here's the hard truth we have to face. The system is designed to prey on your insecurities. Every single algorithm is fine-tuned to show you things that make you feel envy or outrage, because those emotions keep you scrolling. So quitting isn't just a personal choice. It's kind of like an act of rebellion against a system that wants you to feel not enough. So the choice really comes down to this simple framework. First, you just have to see social media for what it is, a tool, like a hammer, nothing more, nothing less. Second, you have to ask yourself, honestly, is this tool helping me build the life that I want? Or, and this is the scary one, have I actually become the servant to the tool, just compulsively checking and performing for it? In the end, it all just boils down to this one question. People who don't use social media aren't better than us. They've just answered this question for themselves, and they decided their attention, their time, and their peace of mind were worth more than whatever the platforms were offering. So the only thing left to ask is, what's